a little bit of my commentary on the front end and the back end. We're about to go into a presentation into BigCommerce. So there are a couple big players when it comes to e-commerce in the world. There is Shopify, certainly a big player in the world. If you haven't caught Shopify, well, you've missed out. It's certainly there. There is, for sure, there is WooCommerce. There is, of course, a bunch of third-party systems that are tied to the different POS systems. But the one that I have seen grow the fastest in the last year is the one called BigCommerce that we're about to hear about. And being able to tie to BigCommerce. So a couple things. BigCommerce connects to our retail cloud, which you'll learn about tomorrow if you're in the Transcend show, or if you're, I'll probably live stream. I'm working on the schedule tomorrow, that or the simulcast over here, as well as it goes into Vend, and it can tie into just making a complete experience. In fact, if you go to mypayprotect.store, we were able to create that store, get it up and running in about a day. And that mostly was just us learning the system and get it all up in the payments. Recently, we did a BigCommerce site at giftcardsurge.com, and we were able to get that up and running in less than a couple hours, including payments. So because you can do it through the USA ePay gateway. There are other ways to do it. You can do auth.net, you can do it, but that's the one that's been the fastest for us. We can get that approved, we can get that created and get them, all they need is that API key, copy and paste, and boom, you're up and running. If you're not selling e-commerce and e-commerce products, and that doesn't mean just straight e-commerce, Retail Cloud has e-commerce tied to it, as well as Vend, as you are, if you watched that earlier today. There's huge amounts of opportunity there. Looks like they're working to get everything set up on the back end. I'm going to make sure our stream is working. I upped the quality because I think the bandwidth is holding. And so I want to see here, let's pull up if there are any comments or anything here. But I appreciate those who have been watching here. The reason I stream it in two different places, it's just a way for us to quickly simulcast it. These won't be up on different portals for a while. We're going to pull little snippets to be able to give you things from here from the Roadshow, as well as tying that into some of the other stuff in our PayProtect virtual Roadshow, which is giving you the opportunity to on-demand watch things that we're out. And we have some more things planned with that we're putting together. Again, Vend, our interview with Vend, which we did with the president of North American Operations, will be out on Thursday, so be looking for that. All kinds of great opportunities, things that we can do. E-commerce is one of the most important things. I'm going to pull up the sound in my ears so I can hear. Looks like they're still working on getting it. They had some technical difficulties, so then that instead of watching them, you can talk to me. As we think about the Roadshow, I see. Let's see, a couple people are on here. I see somebody over here messaging me. I'm just kind of looking to see what you're seeing here. Lorianne, Chase Dunn, you asked earlier about getting the slide decks. I will make sure those get put over into the MyPayProtect. In fact, I emailed them over, and so they should be over here, not too distant future, and I will also email those to you. Thank you guys so much for all the way that you have had to jump in here, watch these live. You can do it over at the GoToWebinar that we sent out in the email last night, but you can also watch it here. We're going to be simulcasting it. It's always going to be here on the Facebook page, and you'll be able to do that. I'm going to listen in. All right. Okay, so I think I can hear, I haven't turned them on in it, but they're just getting set up, and I'm going to bring up my over piece shot here. And it looks like he's sharing his presenter view there. So we're just kind of watching and learning. This is fun to be able to do. We're going to try to do more and more of this. We're just putting out as much content as we can, content that is relevant to you as our sales partners, no matter how it comes to us. It is helpful to learn, to grow, and to keep encouraging one another. So please jump in here, learn, ask questions, anything you can do. E-commerce, again, I will go back to that, is one of the most important things that you can learn, because there isn't going to be an industry that doesn't have some facet of e-commerce, whether it's online ordering or actual retail distribution, that I don't see any company being able to survive long term without having that. Because the fact is, except for the big box stores, but obviously they have their online pieces too. But all right. Okay, so I'm going to bring their audio up and we'll hear it from them. And I'm going to go ahead and sign off. I'll see you guys in a little bit.
Programs are the ones that jumped on board with offering a stimulus. Personally, what was it, Sachin? Talked to Grace and a couple others for the first time, maybe 3 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago, something like that.
Yeah.
And because, as you'll see later on, we've always had the ability to integrate to shopping carts, but we haven't really had one that's come on board as a resource partner in the same light like a lot of our other resource partners in POS or apps and those types of things. So that kind of went down that's the path we're going down with BigCommerce, right? And we didn't want to wait until that was all completed for you all as our sales partners to hear what they have to say, to start introducing you all to BigCommerce. In fact, I mentioned BigCommerce in our COVID training. And on that note, I'm going to drop off my video screen. I'll mute myself. If you guys have questions, just like anything else, type it in the question section. As we have time at the end, if we do, then I will facilitate a Q&A and get those answers. So on that note, Sachin, I'm turning it over to you and dropping off.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Keith. Thank you, everyone, for joining, and thank you for giving us an opportunity to present. Again, my name is Sachin Wadhawan. I'm the Senior Director of Technology Partnerships here at BigCommerce. I've been with BigCommerce for a little over 4 years, and currently I manage our technology partnership program, partner enablement, and some of the other functions. We truly are a partner-first company, and we're very proud of building an ecosystem of partners to bring the best value to our merchants and to our combined merchants. So I can fairly assume that majority of the listeners on this webinar are e-commerce consumers, right? So I'm assuming you have purchased something on Amazon, you've purchased something on Grubhub recently, you've purchased something on your favorite website or through a mobile app, right? So we all have experienced e-commerce. Certainly right now, it's a perfect time for offline retailers that may not have access to people walking into their stores, but they have products to sell, they have customers, they just need to get their products in front of their customers, right? So e-commerce is playing even a bigger critical role for merchants of all sizes. Now this statistic, as you look at on this screen, has been growing, right? And we all have experienced, I think if I asked everybody 5 years ago, if you didn't get your product that you ordered online delivered to your front door in 2 days, would that be okay with you, right? And Amazon and others have dramatically shifted our mindset in terms of how we think about e-commerce and how critical it is in our day-to-day lives. So you look at the number of digital shoppers that are actively buying online will reach 282 million in the US alone. And that growth continues to be projected to be 22% of total retail sales by 2023. And there was a perception a while ago, I believe, that people thought, only young people are buying or products online or products through Facebook and Instagram, but it really has an impact on all age groups. Now, some of the trends that we're seeing in 2020, and these trends continue to be at the forefront of innovation because the e-commerce industry is going through a lot of innovation. Some of those trends I wanted to highlight here, just so you have, you're kind of either experiencing this or bringing some of this knowledge to the merchants. Mobile shopping is on the move, right? We, across BigCommerce merchants, we see that more and more orders for a merchant are coming from a mobile device than somebody sitting on their laptop or computer placing that order, right? So we are on the go. We're using our mobile phone for a lot of things, but also for placing orders. More ways to pay. And this, again, is really relevant to e-commerce because I know the session right before this was for a point of sale, but when you're online, right, there are different methods that the user can pay. So if I belong to Amazon Pay or Apple Pay or different payment methods, the merchant can give me options on whichever method is more convenient for me as a consumer to pay. Augmented reality plays a big part in e-commerce, right? So especially things like you're buying furniture, for you to be able to take a picture of the product that you're looking at and place that product in your dining room to see how this dining table will fit, right? So we're seeing tons of innovation where that experience of the consumer, regardless if they are in the merchant store or if they're online, tying that experience is really important. Artificial intelligence is continuing to grow its influence, not just on businesses to learn about their shoppers, but for shoppers to improve their buying experience. So if the store knows who I am, what I've purchased in the past, then making product recommendations can be really, really meaningful for the consumer. Video continues to be big. We've seen a lot of video being used to promote and educate the products, educate the consumers about the products. But now we're seeing more and more of product purchases within video that are starting to take place. And last but not least, optimizing digital conversion strategy. Every business, when businesses start just selling online, their main goal is to just get orders in. As they continue to grow their e-commerce and their online presence, then it's all about, if I'm getting 10,000 visitors to my site, how can I convert a lot of them into purchasers, into buyers, right? So we're seeing these are some of the trends we're observing that are happening across our industry that I thought would be good for you to know. Now, when merchants think about e-commerce, right? So there's certainly a perception, which I think with the current environment, this perception is going to go away. There used to be a perception that, e-commerce was an option. E-commerce was a nice to have. E-commerce is really difficult. I need to have developers and, I need to have a big IT team to have my own online store, right? SaaS platforms like BigCommerce and others have really made it super easy for non-technical merchants to be able to start selling online, right? In terms of how you set up your store, how much investment you have to make up front, how you can reach a broader audience, and then, responsiveness, right? So if I have a brick and mortar store, it's only open the hours that it's open. When it's closed, nobody can walk into the store and buy my products. That doesn't apply to online, right? Anytime somebody can go at, they wake up in the middle of the night and they forgot to place purchases order, they can do that. It also expands international audience, right? Brick and mortar store merchants have to really think about people that can drive up to their store or walk in front of their store to be their potential customers, whereas e-commerce opens that up to national and international outreach. So these are some of the benefits that are becoming more and more prevalent in the current environment for many merchants to say, e-commerce is not a choice, it's part of me running a business. It complements what I'm doing offline. So it's not exclusive. It's something I have to do as a business. So how does somebody go about launching an e-commerce store, right? So you take that from I need to have e-commerce. I've decided that that's what I'm going to need to grow my business. What are some 10 steps, right, I can take to start thinking about having e-commerce presence? The first one is creating a plan, right? This is an obvious one, right? You got to think about this as a net new channel, right? So this forces you and the merchants to say, who is going to buy my products online, right? And what kind of growth do I anticipate from this new channel? Choosing your e-commerce platform. Obviously, we recommend BigCommerce, great platform, and I'll talk a little bit more about BigCommerce in a second, but there are other e-commerce platforms available in the market as well. What I do recommend is, just like these merchants had to do their due diligence when they purchase their stores and their physical locations, for the long term, they also have to think about selecting their e-commerce platform for the long haul. So not just about, I need an e-commerce for my next year, but as I continue to grow my business online, can this platform support me on an ongoing basis? Certainly creating an ongoing budget, right? So just like your physical store, merchants have to think about, how will I calculate the key performance indicators? How will I know that my investment in e-commerce is paying off? Choosing your domain. This is very exciting for a lot of merchants, right? This is your new address, right? What is your store going to be called? Is it just yourbusiness.com, or is there something else that your consumers can find you with? Designing your template. Brand experience is really important in e-commerce, as we all know. Online product selection. This may not be an obvious one, If I have a brick and mortar store, do I need to sell everything that I'm selling offline online? The answer may be yes. The answer may be I need to sell some parts of my products online. And by the way, maybe I need to start selling some new products that are more suited for online consumption or online ordering than physical store ordering. And then who will ship, right? This is another head scratcher. So if I only do brick and mortar stores, shoppers come in, walk into the store, like the product, select the product, pay for the product, they walk out with a shopping bag, right? When I have an e-commerce store, the order is going to come in at 4 a.m. How am I going to fulfill it? How am I going to ship it to my consumers? Of course, frictionless checkout is really important. Just like in the merchant's physical stores, they have to think about this in an online fashion too. What is that experience for the moment I like the product, I add it to my cart, to now I've paid for it, and I'm waiting for the FedEx confirmation on when it'll arrive. Managing inventory is really important. This is where integration to POS systems like Venn become really critical, because now you have a new channel and products and inventory needs to match between those. And then of course the exciting part of launching your store once you go online. So again, for a merchant to really be thinking about how am I going to go from not selling online at all to starting to get my first order, these are some of the 10 steps to e-commerce that you can share with your merchants. So real quick about BigCommerce, we are an e-commerce platform and we support merchants sell more at every stage of growth. This is really unique to us because we want to make sure that businesses that are just starting out to businesses that are doing 20, 30 million plus online can stay on the same platform, right? This is the value proposition for choose your e-commerce platform for the long term. We support both B2B and B2C businesses, which is also really critical because what we see a lot is if a merchant is only selling B2C, only selling to consumers, at some point in their growth stage, they may start to act more like B2B, right? Because they're getting bulk orders from schools or institutions, and now they are wholesaling, right? So you see this convergence between B2C and B2B. Businesses kind of start to change those models, and you want to make sure that you're on an e-commerce platform that can support both B2C and B2B model, which is what BigCommerce does. So just a little bit about our company. We've been around since 2009. We have over 750 employees, headquartered in Austin, Texas, but we also have offices across the US as well as global footprint. We have over 68,000 merchants on our platform, total processing over $25 billion in online merchant sales. So 3 reasons why merchants select platform like BigCommerce, right? 1, it's built for growth. So I already talked about that. And it's not just scale in terms of transaction volume, but it's scale in terms of integrating to other systems, right? So as businesses, merchants go from not selling online to now, a good portion of their total revenue is coming online. They're going to need that online order volume and online presence to be integrated to other channels, integrated to back office systems, integrated to order management systems, integrated to different tax solutions, right? So you definitely want to make sure that you choose the platform, and that's why our customers choose us, is because they know that as their business grows, they can continue to leverage BigCommerce as a core e-commerce platform and then integrate to applications as needed. Powerful performance, right? Every time I talk about performance, I ask a brick and mortar store, how would you feel if you had to lock your store during the busy day for half an hour, right? What if you just put a lock in the front door and nobody could come in and buy any products from you? That's terrible, right? The same applies to e-commerce, right? So you don't want your store to be down for any moment, especially for when you have busy seasons like Cyber 5, so Christmas, Thanksgiving. At BigCommerce, we have had 100% uptime for the last 5 years during the Cyber 5 busiest day, right? So this is something our customers rely on. This is something that's very critical to many businesses when e-commerce has more of a seasonality and can drive pretty large portion of a company's or merchant's revenue within a short period of time. And then low total cost of ownership, right? For a lot of people, this could be a new channel. So they want to make sure they don't have to invest a lot up front until it proves itself, right? So you'll see when I talk about pricing, it's very cost effective to move online, right? And especially SaaS platforms design it that way because there's going to be a lot of new learnings that the merchant has to do. But ideally, by the time you start getting your orders, the revenue, net new revenue, and net new customers that you're able to acquire pretty much pays for your technology investment, right? So it becomes a low risk or no risk investment to move online. Now, I mentioned BigCommerce is a platform for merchants at all stages of growth. So these are some of the merchants that are ideal fit for us. Again, physical retail, goods and products that are selling, small and medium business, so businesses that are doing 50,000 to 1 million online, and or less than 10 million offline. Again, for these category of merchants, selling offline currently and they need online store, right? This is kind of what we're living in this world right now. Merchant is new to e-commerce, so they're just tippy-toeing into growing their business online. And maybe they're outgrowing their current e-commerce platform and need more robust solution, right? So even at the SMB, it's common for businesses to just start with Shopify or Etsy or start selling, through Squarespace, right? But then as they start to see that it's actually driving traction, that's when they need to graduate into a more robust, more scalable e-com platform. On the mid-market side, we define mid-market as 1 to 20 million online, or 10 million plus offline. Some of the reasons for them is paying extra for processing, right? So this really comes into account where depending on how much your e-commerce platform is charging you, in addition to credit card rates, all of that can add up when you're doing millions online. They may no longer want to manage their PCI compliance, right? This is really critical. This is net new, something that merchants don't have to deal with as much when they are brick and mortar, right? All the transactions are happening through your POS. But when you're online, you have shoppers coming from all over, right? So maintaining PCI compliance is really important, and the merchants should rely on their e-com platform to be able to manage it for them. They need to be able to quickly launch new features, right? E-commerce makes it very easy for you to collaborate and experiment with some things. And then updating their catalog is a challenge. That's another one that the reason that comes up why they need a platform like BigCommerce. And of course, we talked about total cost of ownership. Some of the common verticals that you can see, but overall, our 68,000 customers span across many verticals. So talking about pricing, right? It's very cost-effective, very intuitive, easy to use, designed for non-technical users, business owners that can start selling online very quickly, right? So standard plan starts at $29 a month, all the way to pro plan that's $300 a month. You can see that the way we price is based on order volume. So up to 50K in gross merchandise value a year on the standard plan. As your business grows, you essentially graduate from one plan to the other plan, right? So this aligns our incentive completely with what merchants are experiencing or what they want to experience is, we grow with them, right, as they grow. Of course, tying it all together, right, you need, if a business has physical presence, they now have online presence, you need a combination of a great point of sale, you need an integrated payments, giving them a choice of USAE Pay, Authorize.net that integrates to an e-commerce platform like BigCommerce, right? So putting all these three together, businesses can really launch into their digital transformation and not be only dependent on their physical space, but be able to grow their business both through physical and digital. All right, so if you have merchants that are interested in learning about BigCommerce, if you're in the Vend plus BigCommerce plus USAE Pay scenario, please refer using your existing methods directly to the Vend team. All of those registrations or referring merchants come through that. For BigCommerce plus USAE Pay or Auth.net only, use the link below that's on the screen, grow.bigcommerce.com/tech-partners. This is our generic lead referral page. So please be sure to note NAB under the integration name. That's what's going to attribute this lead registration coming in from you all, and gives that attribution to our NAB partnership. We'll be sharing more details, including one-pagers, special offer landing page, so it'll be easier for you to refer a merchant to BigCommerce if it makes sense. All right, so I know I've gone through it pretty quick, but apologies, we started a little bit late. So questions?
No, you're perfect. I'm just, let me transfer this over so I can get my question slide up. Yeah, we've got some questions that I know came through. So thank you so much, Sachin. I really appreciate that. And at least for myself, I know that e-commerce was always one of those things that was definitely a little bit more intimidating than, you know, walking in the door, talking to a merchant, helping them with that face-to-face experience. And I know I'm not the only one. I've been getting my feet wet on it a lot, learning more about it, trying to set up, you know, and build more of a portfolio around that, which I think is super, super smart, especially when you end up in situations like this, right? So there's a couple questions. Stuart wants to know, do you offer SEO within the BigCommerce platform?
Yeah, that's a great question. And absolutely. We're actually, we have SEO optimization built in. Now, SEO itself, for others that don't know, it's search engine optimization. So essentially what that means is what information can I put on my product or on my store that when consumers go to their favorite search platform, let's say Google, and type in for what they're looking for, that my product shows up in the search results, right? That's essentially what search engine optimization is. Search engine optimization is art and science, right? So art in the sense that merchants know their product best. So, you know, they need to make sure that they put the right text and the right information in their product. So merchants, when their shoppers are searching for it, those products show up. What BigCommerce does is we take care of the science, right? So there are a lot of kind of technical specifications that e-commerce platforms and the way you lay out your product catalog and the way the URL is structured for each of your product pages, all of that the merchant doesn't have to worry about. It's already optimized. So all they have to do is when you add your product, when you add your description, we optimize that information for search engine optimization. Great question. This is really important because many merchants, you know, there is this sense of you build it, will they come, right? So just because you launch a store, does that mean everybody is going to start, you know, typing in that URL and start buying the product from you? But that may not be the case, right? You have to get your word out and get your store out.
Yeah. I know you asked me to frame it, but I'm gonna also let you know the next session after this is talking about boosting your portfolio with e-commerce, and I've asked Sachin to stay on with me in that because there might be some times I pull him in and ask some questions or kind of continue this through a little bit more format. So we're going to talk a little bit about this next question in that section. But, you know, Sachin, I have a question for you is what makes BigCommerce better than Shopify? I know what little bit I know about you, how I would start to answer it, but I think this would be a great one for you to go ahead and field.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And this is a common, you know, question we hear. Obviously, Shopify is a much bigger company, and you know, and it's many merchants. It's easy to find Shopify. There's a lot of similarities between BigCommerce and Shopify. We're both SaaS e-commerce platforms, but there's a lot of differences as well. You know, the biggest difference that we experience is BigCommerce is staying core to our core capabilities, which is e-commerce, right? We don't want to be a payment provider. We don't want to be a POS provider. We don't want to be an email provider, shipping provider, right? So our philosophy is very different, where we want to give merchants the choice of technology, right? So we are partner first. We have the partner first mentality to make sure that merchants get to select and choose the solutions that best help their businesses succeed. In addition to that, there are some feature capability differences there, especially for businesses that want to grow, that want to invest in e-commerce for the long term. As they grow, they start to run into challenges around either scalability or some customization they need to do. on other e-com platforms that is much easier on BigCommerce. So we call ourselves Open SaaS e-commerce, which gives the flexibility to the merchant to have that openness where, maybe I'm doing something very unique because I'm in a niche market, and I can customize my platform for that. And then the third one I would say is, really kind of goes back to that partner ecosystem. We have agencies, a very strong network of agencies and tech partners that make it very easier and enables our merchants to be more successful on our platform.
Fantastic. All right. What else do we?
Right. With that, we're going to take over a little bit. That's the end of my simulcasting today. I actually need to use this computer for another recording, but thank you so much for those who joined. E-commerce is one of the most important things that you're going to use and see and integrate with, and understanding at least one shopping cart, one gateway, and one POS that all work together is so important. And there are several if you want to go beyond that. So on that, I'm going to sign off, and we'll see you.